So since you've created your own document here on the notes, just make sure whenever we do coaching, you link this up to me, and we should be all good.
All right.
Um,
I
I
guess
think.
just check. Oh,
Sorry, what time zone are you on? Were you Mountain Time?
yeah, Mountain Time.
Okay, time zone, Mountain Time, US, and a MMR. Is that currently still about 3100 or
It's 28. I
28?
was just saying that for the practice mate. That was it.
No worries. So if you hop into chat channel Piggy or Pig on NA, I'm hanging out in there, and we can get straight into some stuff. Looking at the build order you wrote down, I love that you've included a few attack timings, like your first drop right through to some more things. That's all really useful stuff. I think there's definitely some optimizations with your build order that we can do, and we can kind of go over those to start. So I've put the word out on Twitter just now for someone to come and help us out. But if you have a replay just of a recent TVT, that would be perfect. And we could just hop in there, because I want to just quickly compare kind of what you've done in a ladder game to what it says in your build order, and just kind of check some things.
Yeah.
If you can just make me the lobby host. So just right click me and
Yeah.
go promote to lobby host.
Yeah, so this one is like of the design build, but it's where it kind of backfires on me. I'm like, it's a little bit hectic.
No worries. So in your build order, what's really crazy is it says you go gas before command center with a command center first. Is that accurate?
Trying to think. No. Well,
wait, sorry, are you the barcode or the other one?
I'm the barcode. That's why I have a second account.
No,
because I messed with my friend and I didn't realize you couldn't change your name until July 25th, only one time. So kind of stuck playing Barco for a bit.
Didn't pull your SCVs till all your damage was gone.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So anyways, build order wise, so you actually went command center then gas. So that's a little different to what you'd written down. So this is always important because we need to kind of recognize what we're doing consistently and what we aren't. Do you always scout at the same timing?
Not really. This build's like, it's been a work in progress because it's something I like Uthermal like displayed that one of his Twitch GMs did, and I really liked it because it's actually been like one more of my successful builds against like as Terran, because Terran for the longest time has been one of my struggles to play as random. But the only problem is I hit is like you see over here, he throws down those two barracks that like I even scout, but it's like it's just too late because I barely have my barracks up and also my command center, and it's just like it's something like I know in TVT that I need to rework the build order. That like this build is not optimized to fight Terran because they can just pull stuff like that out and just wreck me, or if he gets like 2 or 3 Reapers fast enough, it's like game over because he can start sniping like the buildings, my SCVs that are building like important buildings.
I guess we should start first of all. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is just start kind of my own notes up here, so I don't mess your notes up, so you can kind of adjust things as needed, right? 20th November. I know it's the 19th for you, but I'm coaching you from the future, so it's all good.
You know.
What we're looking at here essentially is a mass marine kind of very bio / mobility / drop focused build. Essentially, that's kind of what a command center first is good for in this matchup. So I just want to double check first of all, like that is the style you want to be playing before we go too deep on telling you how to play it better. Is this what you actually want to be doing?
Yeah, I love Marines a lot more. Like I can work with them, and I feel like they're a lot more vital tool, and like I can build my composition around like a good solid Marine pool. And the only time I would ever change it up is if like I'm doing some like cheesy harass, like I just go barracks tech lab and throw down a ghost academy followed by a factory, and that's me just trying to bust your front door in and do some shady crap.
Cool. So are you thinking of yourself, do you enjoy the dropping a lot? Is it the ability to kind of move around the map? Do you like hitting multiple areas? What especially is it like, do you think is the funnest part of bio for you, or the part you like to kind of focus on a bit more?
I think like when I've had successful games of drops, I just like doing that and sending multiple, trying to get multiple drops and getting more used to that stale play style, because that's like, because I usually like still ball up some of my games where I just don't go anywhere else, and I want to kind of force myself to get used to that style of like, okay, there's gonna be like many things, divide my attention and just try to focus on the important things. And I really do like trying that and try and drop on multiple locations to mess them up. And there have been games where I've had some major success with it.
Cool. And it's fun, right? It feels good, man.
Hmm.
Just hitting all over the shop, and allows you to make some cool comebacks, and it's lots of, unlimited cap on what you can do with your awareness and pull your opponent around and all sorts of stuff. Okay. Cool. So if we're going to do a command center first build, and I guess I can take a very quick glance at this U-thermal build order, I guess I could do that. Give us one sec. Give me one sec. I'll just open that here so that if I look at it for more than a few seconds, I can show that to
What's
the
up,
chat.
boys?
So let's see. When does he take this gas? So it's
He said-
CC, gas racks, and this was for TVZ especially. Okay. Yeah. Because Zergs are often never really proxying in this matchup, so. And I'm not sure if he has CV scouted at all. I think this is just like a super greedy blind build as far as I can tell that he does, where he's like, well, no one really early pulls in this matchup at super high levels, and one base Ravager has been out of the meta for a long time. So he's like, look, that's fine. It's just the most obscenely greedy build. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Gross. Cool. Let's never copy that. That's so greedy. No, let's not do that. What we could do though is we could still do command center first if you want, and I'm totally down with that. So if we
Yeah.
were to do CC first, the way we would do this, and I guess I'll just basically what we would do is we would go CC first. We would go like 17 CC, 2 barracks, and then 2 gases. And those 2 gases would be like a little delayed, but they'd still be coming down. The thing is, like with what you're planning to do in your build order, I don't think you need the gas that early at all. Like the reason it kind of works with the U-thermal build, I guess, is because you're he's trying to get out stim and medevacs really early, and he's just kind of skimping on the barracks production. But I think the way we would probably want to do it, especially if we're making it a more solid start, the level you're at, you have at least 700, 800, 900 MMR. You can jump on the ladder, I would say, up to Diamond 3 easily, doing a 3-rack style off command center first. And I think that would probably be a better way to do it. So we might even want to go 3 barracks before 2 gases. I'm just kind of trying to visualize exactly how this whole build would work in my head. Probably a 3rd racks, and then we get a factory at some point. So I guess it would probably be like a tech lab and 2 reactors is what you'd probably go for by standard, or it might be 2 tech labs, 1 reactor if you prefer to be more marauder heavy. So obviously 3 add-ons steadily. We might get an eBay. Yeah, we'd probably get a 3rd racks plus an eBay around the same time. So we get like 3 add-ons steadily plus 1 attack, stim, then shields, that order, and then we'd go factory and factory and obviously starport and SWAT for medevacs. Now with this sort of style, if we were to do like that, your first attack would probably be a just ground-based biotiming. So it would probably be, something like a 5 minutes to 6 minutes stim, poke to enemy 3rd base, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
enemy third, natural, something like that. And then there could be drops plus frontal combo attacks, plus just general, you know, mid game stuff from there. Other stuff which we haven't defined yet.
Yeah.
So the important thing would be to go barracks, right after, not squeezing this gas in because we're already being greedy. The other thing would be we want to scout every game to check we're not being all in so we can adapt and react. So the way you would want to do that, if we look at this, your command center goes down at a minute 7, right? So
Mhm.
this is like just a few seconds before your SCV gets there. So it's such a bummer because if you get in there and you see a depot in the wall, nothing else, you 100% know you're being all in. Like
Mhm.
this guy tries to come and build a barracks. Like he's like, "Oh, my barracks is just starting. It's just 40 seconds late." Like it's like the
Yeah.
funniest shit I've ever seen. There's people in low GM who do this where I'm like, you think I'm stupid? Like who falls for this? Like, and people fall
Yeah.
for it. People are just sleeping. They're not paying attention sometimes. That's 40 seconds late. That barracks. Like, come on, this is
Mhm.
so dumb. But if we haven't put the command center down, we would like to scout this before. So if we can scout a little bit earlier, that would be great. So when did we scout? Let's see. I think this was your depot SCV.
Yeah.
Went straight across the map. And even then, it's still not in time to cancel the command center. So it might, I mean, we'd need to send a super early SCV on a really big map. So it might not really be feasible to get that information before the command center goes down.
Mhm.
However, you can always just cancel it in this case. You right now could just go, oh, okay, like he's trying to kill me. Cancel command center, build your 2 barracks on the high ground, and then build a command center behind it on the high ground. And
Mhm.
you'd be fine.
Yeah.
So, there's some pretty simple reactions that can still get you through most of these situations. So we could absolutely do that. It's just important to have, okay, I'm getting cheesed, what's the response? And in this game, I think you saw it. I think you realized you just didn't think to cancel the command center, right?
Yeah, I think I let it finish, but it was like probably my saving grace in the end because I used it to block where the supply depot was and not deny him access for a minute.
Yes, which was awesome usage, but it was also it which put you in the shit position in the first place. You still go command center and gas, and you're staring. No, you had no idea what happened. Check this
Yeah.
replay out, dude. You're staring at your SCV. The moment you walk in, you should know. So watch your camera. If you're not watching your camera, get on your camera right now. Look at this. So you go CC, you go gas, fair enough, that's fine. And you go, oh, okay, I'm in the base. So you see no building in the wall and no gases. That is
Mhm.
100% tell you are being proxy racks all in. There is nothing else it could be unless this guy's hidden a command center somewhere. He's also going CC first, right?
Yeah.
Technically, we do want to check to make sure that he's not some weirdo who's just built a command center in the corner. But yeah, no, like this, you should know at this point. But it clearly doesn't click for you, so that's something you got to train yourself. This should be something that's
Mhm.
instantaneous pattern recognition. So that's very important. What is the tell? Opponent hasn't built literally anything other than 1 depot in his base. All that other stuff just
Mhm.
starting is super late. There's no way. So the fact that we're staring at our SCV right now and your barracks are actually late, even if you were just doing your macro build, you've already got money to start both barracks.
Mhm.
So you're doing a poorly executed standard build with 0 reaction. If we cancel
Mhm.
the command center, the gas, or never start both of them, even easier. These barracks are like 30 seconds faster. Bam! You're gonna smash. Easy peasy, easy peasy. And if you wanted to, you could still wall off with the command center. Because remember, I said you could go 2 barracks and just build the command center on the high ground. You could reinforce
Mhm.
that top side of the wall with the command center if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So CC first is fine. You can defend just about anything with it, as long as you get used to your reactions. So do you want to stick with this one then? This slightly different game plan, get a bit heavier barracks production. We'll still
Yeah.
be playing the same style. We've just got more production earlier, delaying our gas a little bit, giving ourselves, like I would call it a friendlier, more forgiving build order, essentially.
Yeah. And the whole reason like I tend to usually do this build is like just the ability if this game does turn into a macro game, I have 2 more command centers that are super fast. I can go up to about like 5 to 6 racks and just continuous marine stream.
Yeah, and then you can have a lot of practice zerging your opponent with them. Essentially, you can if you
Yeah.
if you play a heavy enough bio style, You can kind of just set up these big flanks and stem in and big spreads against whether it be Protoss Splash or someone who has siege tanks. It's really fun. You can
Hmm.
send a drop in the main while attacking at their third base at the same time with the rest of your army. Like you can do a lot of this fun multi-prong cool shit. So it's really good for
Hmm.
practicing, using the power of Marines and bio and all that sort of stuff. So good stuff.
Hmm.
Little tip, you absolutely need to control group your workers whenever you pull them to fight. Obviously, I know
Okay.
you're a bit addicted to F2, so your control group habits kind of suck already. It's something we'll need to steadily work on, right? But
Yeah.
if you control group them, it is so important because otherwise it's very hard to use your workers effectively in a fight. But if you make it a habit, anytime you've got to pull workers to fight, you throw those on whatever your secondary army group is. So like your main army group, I imagine would just be one, right?
Mm. Yeah, one in later game, early game, I just have an SCV tag so I can keep pulling them and making sure I build. But later, yeah, it'd be one, and then two, and then three.
Yeah. So
Just
probably
depending.
two, I would imagine, in the early game, or two or three would
Hmm.
just be your standard. That's just a mechanical muscle memory. Ah, we're in
Hmm.
trouble. Fuck. You box your SCVs, you aim move them, control three. And then if the fight, you start winning it, you can quickly run them back, right? Or you can tell them all to hold position if you're up against melee units so that they're deprioritized. So the enemy's not going to attack them, but they're still going to get blocked by them in the fight. And you can do all sorts of fancy things with workers. And especially
Hmm.
with Terran, it's very important because it's all very high damage, low hit point units. So, anyways, let's hop out of that replay and let's try and get into some games and put this kind of variation into practice. So, big thank you to everyone who's tuned into the stream already today. We are looking for someone in chat channel Piggy. If you guys are able to go in game /join space Piggy, same way you just join a chat channel. This is not the groups menu. And any plat Terrans around. Let's see if someone already answered the call and is in there. Not sure. We'll see. If there is anyone willing to play, please do hop in. Cool. We have a 2.6k Terran. Yeah, I mean that'd be fine.
NA.
North America, guys. North America. Yep. Sorry. Not EU. Not EU today. Kilkenny says I'm a bit too high. Yes, you are. We don't need the Kilkenny effect. He'll be running bloody widow mines and battle cruisers around your base.
Oh
He's
no,
he's a nasty boy. So
I don't need Patty Mac zealots.
they're everywhere. All right. Is there anything someone who's new to the game can learn before going to matches with people? Not best thing is how to lose. So just lose. Just cue the games and expect to lose. Don't expect to win. Just try to figure out some of the basics. Yeah. I think team games is a nice on ramp if you don't have any friends. I think there's like an adopt a noob channel. If you go and search groups, adopt a noob is good. Submarine, hey, nice small map to start.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. So we're still looking for someone. So yeah, we'll use Peter Enigma. If you can hop on, dude, and just chat in the Piggy channel, like we will get you invited. We got a lobby up. That would be perfect, mate. Yeah, so for anyone out there who's kind of wanting to improve, yeah, you can search for Adopt a Noob. And I think it's even a featured group. Yeah. Has 72,000 members and just ask random people in there, I'm a newbie. Same thing with any of the improvement subreddits. Reddit, all things Zerg, all things Terran, all things Protoss. I cannot encourage people enough right through Diamond League. Even Masters, you can get some good feedback. If you just post replays in there with the questions and self-analysis, and it's just a good exercise. Anytime you kind of do a bit of analysis of your own play, you're always, picking up things, but then you get someone, even if someone points out some shit that's totally wrong, it's useful because then you have to think through why they're wrong. So it helps you understand a little bit, right? I imagine Peter Enigma is playing on a wooden computer, so we'll just give him a minute to log on. Every now and then I'm like, oh yeah, so just you're coming on, and they're like, yeah, it's just starting. I'm like, oh, okay.
could take 30 minutes, you know.
Yeah, they have to light the pilot light. I'm like, what? I'm like, why do you? I'm like, huh? Why is your computer gas powered?
I forgot the wood out back, so I need to go chop some real quick. Throw it in. Kindling.
This is a Mad Max gaming rig or some shit. Jesus Christ. Big thanks to No Powder and Job for the resubs. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. Cool. Oh, I see a Peter Enigma hop in chat. I just shot him an invite. He says sorry. Don't be sorry. We're just joking. We just joking. Cool. All right, so let's get into it. And this is more build walkthrough than anything. So just play defensive first game, please. I'm just gonna be, but any style you want. Good luck, have fun. Cool. So we're going command center first. We're just gonna go straight into the 2 barracks, then the 2 gas afterwards. We'll then get a 3rd barracks and an eBay. And we'll then steadily put add-ons, upgrades, stim, shields, factory. This is not an ironed out build order. I don't do command center first. I haven't done it in a long time. I know this should all roughly line up, but I'll add a few details as we go, as I talk you through it. And we'll kind of have it refined by the next game to at least the written version of it. Executing will be another story, but that's how it goes. We'll pick it up little bit by little bit.
So
Whoa.
2 barrack. Oh wait, what? Oops.
Restart. Command center first. Still command center first.
brain flipped out a little bit.
That's all right. You went back to the old basics before you were doing that build. That's all right. Let's just host up again. It was so early. I was like, fuck it. Doesn't matter. Just might as well restart. Let's go. Command center, then 2 barracks, then 2 gases. Yep.
Okay. And hold on. Let me just, for safety's sake, keep them in the party.
Yeah, it makes it easier to remake.
There we go.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I've told him if he wants, he can harass you and stuff, but I imagine, he's lower MMR than you anyway, so I don't think he'll be too much of a problem. And it's fine to have a small spanner in the works. If he was a higher level or even player with you, I'd be like, no, not for this game. But
yeah, no.
as long as he's not proxy reapering with 3 racks or something, it should be something we can handle and still be learning the build at the same time. So yeah, always trying to cue your guys to do stuff ahead of time. So of course, just get that depot on the normal time as you do. Most people prefer SCV.
Yeah, I was.
You're short on SCVs, so that's meant to be a 14 supply depot. So small habit: you should always just rally your command center to build that first depot. 100%. Yeah, and that depot SCV. You could even have it control grouped. I think you do. Yeah, rally to the command center. Yeah, so you can tell it to mine minerals and then stand where the command center is. Queue up another 2 SCVs.
Oops.
Yeah, because I figure if you go back after building the depot, you might get 1 round of minerals before you have to go down to build the command center. But you might as well just wait down there.
Oh yeah,
You've got 1 extra SCV queued up, so you're only meant to queue to 17. Remember? There we go. Okay. Beautiful. Yep. Command center.
Oh, fick. There we go. There's the SCV.
Keep building SCVs. So it should always be command center SCV. Then you move an SCV over for 1 barracks, then 2 barracks. Oh, gotta get that second barracks going. Ignore his SCV. Come on, get an SCV over there ahead of time. Yep. Always have it waiting in position ahead of time. And we should be queuing those guys back to mining afterwards. So you've got to have that habit of queuing your workers back to mining. So you can box both those SCVs on the barracks, shift them back onto the minerals, keep building SCVs. All right, we're going to take 2 gases.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's 2 barracks, then 2 gases. So take both. You can take both at the same time there.
Yeah, I misclicked and I was trying to hotkey still my command centers together, and because I placed them in the wrong group. So now lift and
no, you don't need to lift off. You just build Marines. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot.
If you were planning to lift off, there would never be a reason for you to have placed it there. You would have placed it with the position for the add-on. So just keep building orbital commands. Remember, it's double orbital as soon as those command centers finish.
Okay. That's a good.
And then that's also the point where you're saturated. So you can rally both command centers to your natural.
Sweet.
And now we can build a 3rd barracks and an engineering bay, okay? So 3rd barracks, engineering bay, totally okay to just keep building just SCVs, Marines, mules for now.
Yeah, I tend to put like my engineering bay like behind the mineral patch here.
Yep.
Is that
Yeah, that's great. Drop mules, keep building SCVs. So you didn't queue those workers back to mining after those buildings. That's one of those habits. You're just going to make Terran infinitely hard for yourself if you don't build habits like that. That's one. You gotta do that every time. So you gotta lift your barracks off and start building add-ons now. Let's just go 2 tech labs and 1 reactor is standard. So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, if you start with the 2 tech labs, that's nice and simple.
Oh, he's got Reapers.
That's fine. I think this is a really good chance for us to actually restart the build anyway. So we can say GG now, because we got to tighten it up. So as useful as it is to go from here, it's much better for us to get more repetitions. So yeah, exit out. If we can get more repetitions of that, that's really important. So this is really big. So I can start a new list now of big fundamentals. Okay. Do you ever stack your workers on mineral patches at the start?
Do you mean like split them or just let them go?
I mean, once they're mining, just making sure that they're paired up so it's 2 a patch, not 3 a patch, and especially focusing on 2 workers on each close patch. Do you ever do that?
I've known of that for a long time. My brain focused on it.
It's not important. That's very low priority. Okay, so actually, I'll make that in a different low priority list.
Yeah, I've always been aware that's like a super meta thing in the high pro games. But I don't really focus on that.
Yeah, you'll have games where you mine a few hundred minerals less if you don't pay attention to it. You'll have other games where it barely affects you because they're going to sometimes mine efficiently and sometimes they won't. So don't stress over it. Rally that SCV to the ramp, queue another SCV. So you should always rally your first SCV. Notice it pops as you pull that guy over. That's fine, but we'll use that in future to always just rally. Keep building SCVs, SCVs, SCVs. Yep, keep queuing them up. There we go. Always make sure we're not missing any of that.
Actually, command center first.
Yeah, actually, sorry, we wanted to scout, didn't we? Right? So normally you scout with your depot SCV, don't you? All right, let's hop out one more time. One more time, let's restart. This is really good. Just restart, restart, restart. It'd be nice if I actually used save and load tool in these rare cases where we normally don't restart this much. Just host up one more time. We've got to rally depot. So first of all, command center rallies to ramp, builds depot, and then rallies to scout. And then we'll just send an SCV down at what, like 250, 300 minerals, something like that. We'll grab an SCV and send it down there as we're getting close to that time. Yep, good stuff.
And then right once we build the command center, we want to pull another SCV to build the barracks and so on and so forth, or do we want to rally them out from the command center?
You'll just grab those ones as you need them. Yeah, it's only really like the first one when you know, oh, It's always perfectly timed that first SCV you build pops out and gets there like at the right timing to build the depot. So extra SCVs, come on, keep up that production. Yeah. So you've scouted SCV, which is great. You've queued him to scout. That's good. So all we're doing now is building SCVs and then sending one to our natural about 250 minerals. So yeah, we can send the SCV down. You got to queue one more though. Remember, we do need to queue SCVs to 17 supply. So we could have queued to 17, then brought the SCV down. You're waiting a few seconds. Better early than late. Always better to be hanging out for a few seconds ahead of time. So we don't mind that. Queue extra SCV. Get the other SCV over to build the barracks.
Double gas.
Yep. Okay, so what you want to do now is build a bunker. No bunker yet. Sorry, never mind. We're gonna have to go Marines and double orbital in a sec as we put on gas. So try to always remember to go 2 orbitals at once. Doing good.
Wait, what it?
Orbital.
Okay.
Cancel that SCV.
Yeah.
You queued 3 Marines, so you only ever want to queue 1 Marine in these early stages at a time. Once you get past about 3-4 minutes, you can queue a shitload of units and it'll make me really happy. Just at the very start, try to only ever queue 1 Marine or 1 SCV at a time, if you can, just for the first couple minutes of the game only, because you got very limited resource. All right.
Gotcha.
All right, so bunker on the natural now.
Command center upgrade complete. Command center upgrade complete.
Awesome. Okay, just keep building SCVs. We can get the 3rd barracks and the eBay down soon, and this is going to give you some nice, extra money. Keep building SCVs. So let's just try and make sure we don't miss that SCV production ever. Even if it delays everything else a little bit, that's just going to give you so much more money in the next stage. So awesome. You're doing great.
Oh. Huh?
Yeah.
Gosh dang control. I controlled all my barracks and deleted it.
Yeah, when you're canceling the Marine, right? That's what happened. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay. Depot. So you need to start building a depot wall off on your natural. Now we're going to do that every game as habit. Depot wall off. Why? Because it's great versus good versus Protoss. We don't really need it versus Terran, but we'll just build a nice habit of doing that. Okay, keep building SCVs and mules. Get stim, combat shields, and +1 upgrades. Completely ignore him at the front. We got a bunker, so we don't give a fuck.
Okay.
So we're gonna get a reactor on that 3rd barracks.
Then do I just want to pull the SCV and tell him
build a factory?
Yeah.
So, and then with that SCV, he's going to build a starport. So I want you to go back to that factory SCV. As soon as you place that, you should have also then rallied him to where you want to go. Now, if we want to build a starport below that, we just rally him right there. But the reason that's an important habit, seems useless there, you've got to build that habit. Every time you build a structure, you rally back. The only exception is if you want someone to keep building things and then you rally it to right next to it, because then it's a conscious decision. This guy's going to keep building depots. This guy's going to build a starport. Those habits are so important because Terran similar to Zerg, if you're not efficient and organized with your actions, it is one of the most impossible races. Protoss doesn't really have this problem because they just don't. They've got bigger, cheap, more expensive units, not as many fancy add-on swaps and stuff. But with Terran or Zerg, if you don't have organized mechanics, it is like the most impossible game just to do the most basic tasks. You're like, wow, StarCraft's incredibly hard. So anyways, I want us just to exercise. We're kind of past where the build matters, anyways. But I want you to now just keep practicing some basic mechanics, okay? So I want you to go to your main, and we're gonna build 3 barracks. Now, the way we would do this is we jump to our main. Now, notice you just boxed 3 SCVs. Let's go back one more time. We're taking way too long to do that. Cancel that barracks. Go back to mining. I want you to go look at your natural. We're doing other things. Go look at your natural. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do that again, but first of all, I want you to think about the exact order of operations. It's going to be jump to the main mineral line, box a bunch of SCVs, try to make it about 3, but if you box 5 or 6, doesn't matter. And we're just going to go build barracks, build barracks, build barracks, and then queue them back to the resources, okay? So just show us that and give it your best shot. You didn't queue them back. Go back, cancel it, do it again. That's it. That's why we're practicing this. I'm going to make you do this 10 times in a row. So do it again. Yep, we're microing, we're distracted. Oh shit, I got money. Time to build 3 barracks. Cool. Now let's check. Did we click on the mineral patch? I think you did. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure you didn't misclick. Okay, cancel those barracks. And let's do that again.
I grabbed 6.
Not the end of the world. Yeah. In that case, if you pull a few extra, if you just went build building, build building, build building, then shift click back, it would never even pull them off. But that would require a lot more keyboard dexterity. I understand you're not going to do that. You're just going build barracks, shift, click, click, click after giving a move command. So I'm totally fine with your technique. So long as we build that habit of queuing back to the resources, that is the important thing. This time I want you to do it on your natural. So go to your natural and build 3 barracks.
Okay.
All right, cool. Go to your main. I want you to build an extra starport. Just 1 extra starport. Go. All right. You took a while to queue it back. You can queue it back before the building starts, remember. So also, that starport is in a shit position. Notice that's blocking, and it doesn't have space to build an add-on next to it. So cancel that starport. Go to your natural, build a starport. You forgot to queue him back to the minerals.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I don't think he I don't see a rally point off him. So cancel it, and then let's go, put him back on minerals, go to the main, build a starport.
Upgrade complete.
That was way quicker. That was way smoother. Yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome. That was nice. So this is like the little things we want to work on. Okay, cool. So right now, I build a whole bunch of Marines and rally them home, by the way. Right now, we're kind of just rallying units to their death. Marines, please. And if you want to drop some supply drops or whatever, that's fine. So looking at your base, I really am not a big fan of your barracks factory starport placement. And just a little thing there is that what it is doing is it is taking up prime real estate. Essentially, I think you've got plenty of room in this main base to put lots of production. Because they're smack bang in the middle, we can't really fit production on the right, and we can't really fit production on the left. So it would be much better if there were a few squares to the right or a few squares to the left, and then we could have 2 full rows of buildings lined up in our main. It should be really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all your Marines here. We're going to go up. We're going to kill those 2 reactors, and we're going to replace your buildings just to work on building placement theory. Because this is one of those things where as a Terran, you just get a bit more organized with your buildings, and your structure placement, everything becomes much better. Don't ever copy Maru's base placement. Maru is he just is always harassing and attacking, and he goes home and just throws his buildings in the most random spots. We want to seek to be innovation on that one. Innovation is an actual robot with this building placement. So yeah, so you can obviously be placing add-ons with them, and you can imagine, yeah, we want it to be in line with those is not bad at all. Now, you don't want to go too many buildings in a row because, yeah, like I like you left a gap there because otherwise you end up with this giant wall you can't move around. So I love that. And notice you've left a big gap that a tank can move through. So tanks, Thors take 2 whole spaces, right?
Yeah.
Do you have the build grid turned on in your...
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. So actually this starport on the right, just cancel that add-on just for, just so... oh no, the one on the right. The other one.
Oh.
Yeah. Move your units out of the way. Get your army out of there so we can actually see your base. So lift the starport. So show me the closest you would put that to the next row. If it was on the right-hand side, creating a new fresh row of structures of the barracks and the factories. So not down there, but further up. It could be there as well. Actually, there's fine as well. No, further up.
Yeah, because that...
But if you did it there, can a tank fit through that? Between the reactor and that? Yeah. So that's just a limitation of we can't fit a second row between that and the command center, right? Because just the way this map is and where your barracks are placed. And okay, fair enough. But we can do a mini row above the command center, right? So that's why we would be able to place pairs of structures and we'd be able to do a few rows of that. And that you can see, I think you've actually, is that 3 spaces? I think you left 3 spaces there. So you could actually be 1 space to the left with both of those. So cancel them both, build them again, just to get used to like, okay, that's what it looks like. And just like, look at where a 1 space gap is, look at where a 2 space gap is, you know, when you kind of pop it from one to the other and you're like, okay, cool. Just important. I've seen too many pro matches recently where people got a bunch of tanks stuck in their main base and didn't realize. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is so bad. Likewise, that avenue above the barracks, if we want tanks to be able to move there between the cliff and the barracks, needs to be 2 spaces. If we want tanks to be able to move there. I think that's only 1 space, right? What do you reckon?
I think so.
That's fine if they can move elsewhere. So if you built if one of these was a factory that was building tanks, now if they pop on the left right into the avenue, that's fine. But if you then build a factory up to the top right somewhere, it will have to drive between the command center and the barracks. But that bottom barracks builds an add-on, that's walled off, right? So where can a tank go to get out of your base? It would have to go
all the way
through
around
your mineral line. Yeah. Grab an SCV or that mule and grab that mule next to your mineral line and you can show us. It would have to drive all the way to the left around the starports. Use an SCV. Sorry, not there. No, grab an SCV. That mule's about to run out. Because remember, there's an add-on. No, there's an add-on that's going to be built there. Nope, tank can't fit there. Nope. Go back to the right. So we've got to just move that SCV to the right, way to the right,
right
to the
here.
right, way to the right, and move it over to the top right of your base. Imagine a tank has spawned here.
It would have to go up and...
The only way it can go out is south through your mineral line. So drive that SCV south through your... No, leave your buildings where they are. I just want you to be aware of keeping your eye out for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because even if you put those buildings there, the tanks can't fit through. And you wouldn't even be able to go where you just drove because there'd be an add-on there.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go there. Yes, that's exact. And out into the main avenue of your base. I like this main avenue idea because it just reminds you what you need for tanks to get in and out. Just be wary. If you're ever building a bunch of buildings in a cramped space in the corner of your base or somewhere where they can't really get out, it's got to be barracks or starports. You don't want to be building a whole bunch of factories up in some corner of your base, and then your Thors and tanks are getting stuck. So just a very small thing. In general, you keep this idea, though, of building nice, neat rows of buildings where possible. After 3 or 4 buildings in a row, try to leave another gap so that you can actually move around. There's nothing worse than having a giant wall in your main base. Like, it's hilarious in TVT when you just ignore his attack. That's fine. It's okay for him to finish us. We got to restart anyway. Imagine if a Doom Drop gets in the bottom left corner of your base. If you've got that walled off and you literally have built a wall for their siege tanks to siege up and be like unbreakable. Yeah. And I've seen that happen to a bunch of people before. So it's good to make sure we leave these nice thick openings between our buildings.
Yeah.
So really allow you to just stim down there and clean that stuff up.
All right.
Okay, cool. So let's hop out of this and host up another. The important points here, we're going to rally our first SCV to build the depot before scouting with it. And we're just building that habit of every time we put down a structure, we're rallying the SCV to do its next task immediately, right? And that's what I was really focusing on there. And also, we are control grouping structures, which I haven't mentioned yet, but you're kind of doing what most people do in StarCraft, which is like at some point randomly later, they will go back and control group a structure when it's finished and they want to do stuff. So what most people do in StarCraft is they'll build like an Evo chamber or an eBay or a barracks or a command center. They'll put it down. Cool. They'll come back at some point later when they remember about it, make an upgrade or use it, and then maybe they'll think about control grouping it. Whereas it should be the opposite. It should be we place it, we immediately control group it. When we think about it, we press that control group to do the first thing with it. And it just makes your life so much easier because we want to build that as like a mindless muscle memory thing. It's like put down command center, add to your control group. Like you're control grouping that often around the time you're making your orbital, but it should already be control grouped. It should be something we make those orbitals just off number 5 and whatever the hell the orbital hotkey is for you.
Yeah. Okay. I tend to all make orbitals. I rarely make planetaries. So, like,
Good.
Unless it's far out. Unless it's like far out in Timbuktu and I can't send my units. So it's all just one hotkey.
Yeah, it's always like it's a shame. Sometimes people make way too many planetaries. I've played people at high level who make like 7 planetaries on the map. And I'm like, dude, he's got way too many bases. And I like watch the replay and I'm like, oh, we only had 3 orbitals or 2 from the start of the game. Like he couldn't even mine off these bases. Probably, I was like, this is just dumb. Like there's such a thing as too many planetary fortresses. Orbitals get you so far ahead in late game. But yeah, so these are really fundamental things that are so important to lay underneath everything. Because as a random player, I'm not gonna get you to double up your workers every game and harass you over that. I'm not gonna harass you over every minor detail with your builds. But there is like a few underlying habits that will help you so much by freeing up your actions and your attention in every game you play. And that's what these are, right? So I'm like, okay, these have got to be the highest priority. I've talked about them. I'm not going to talk about them too much more in the analysis of this one, but I'll keep just talking you through it. So
yeah, is it
awesome.
one SCV I queue up or is it 2?
So you queue 1 more now, yeah, and yeah. So basically, we have non-stop SCV, and we change the rally point back, and then you see he gets there right on 100 minerals just after he arrives. Bam, 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 perfect. And we queue another SCV and then another SCV because it's 14 depot, 16 barracks. Or, sorry, not 16 barracks, but sorry, 14 depot, and that SCV should be queued to scout, right? So let's queue your depot SCV to go scout. Very nice. And then we should be queuing up to 17 supply, right? So
I pulled this SCV just a little bit early, but oh well.
That's okay. Just remember, queue to 17 SCVs, 250 minerals, then pull them down in future, and you'll be timing it out a little better. It's not a big difference. Better early than late. There we go. Command center, then queue up extra SCV. And then we can grab an SCV and send it over to build that barracks. And then as soon as the barracks is down, queue another SCV. And then bring another SCV over to build a barracks. And we might want to queue 1 more SCV earlier here. I don't know. It depends on your own prioritization. I would say let's just keep SCV production up. Some people would say, screw it, you're already being greedy. Let's just, as long as we choose one and stick to it, that's good. Those barracks SCVs didn't rally back, so let's box them both and queue them back to minerals. We're going to go to build that habit. And let's get those 2 gases going.
Okay.
Queue another SCV. So good habit, whenever you're in the early game going, ooh, what do I do next? Queue an SCV, then do the next thing. Just do that as a nice habit. It'll make sure you're like nonstop. Marine, so just 1 Marine. You have a habit of building like 5, and then remember 2 orbitals. So there we go. Good. Now we can put workers on gas. We can...
And then a bunker out front, right?
Not... Yeah, about now. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah.
Just to stop like a Reaper or something.
Yeah, it just gives you a bit of. We're just going to have that as a standard safety precaution, so we don't have to think too much about our scouting. Rally to your natural, and keep building SCVs. So your natural is not building any SCVs. There we go. Yeah, awesome. And remember, next up is a third barracks and an engineering bay. Cool. All right, so we need those 2 tech labs, so we can lift both barracks, build 2 tech labs, bam, bam.
Oh, I messed that one up.
That's all right.
First one.
SCVs, mules, get your +1 weapons going. Marines in the bunker.
Oh,
In the bunker, you're good, you're good.
you got that freaking.
Add-on complete.
Queuing extra SCVs and mules. You're getting busier at this point, so you need to start queuing 2 to 3 SCVs for each command center at a time, just to give yourself more time. As you've got more things to do, we can queue more things up. Stim and shields. And we haven't got those depots going yet, so normally we want to start those depots. He distracted us. Remember, natural wall normally, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is habit. I build stuff behind my mineral line to keep the base free.
Yep. Yeah, walling off the natural, very important. Otherwise, you could build it in a nice stack behind the minerals once you've got walled offs up, but
Complete.
it's all good. Yep. Okay, so pause the game. Press the pause button on your keyboard.
Game paused.
That's a tip for anyone watching. If they don't know, you can press the pause button on your keyboard. I know a lot of people used to always go F10, click the pause button is what we used to always do. And then someone realized that happened. We're like, what? Oh my God, so dumb. Okay, cool. So when do those depots squeeze into the build? That's a good question.
Probably.
I think your gases could be slightly earlier on, but I think it's okay. I'd rather get those gases a little earlier than needed. I think overall this is starting to line up pretty well. It's a pretty forgiving build because we get this third barracks up. I look at the kind of way we're like lifting our barracks and stuff, and it's like it seems like a kind of slightly unnecessary thing where I'm like, I feel like we should just have our barracks
Just planned
ahead of time. Yeah. Like I think this is something that's like a low priority list, but it's just like, why are we wasting time with that every game? So 2 barracks should both have space for add-ons and be a wall off from initial placement. Like every time I see a Terran do a normal Reaper opening, and then they do it, and then they have to lift the barracks to build the reactor. I'm like, why is the barracks not just in the position, like with the space for the reactor ahead of time? Like, what are we doing? Like, there's just add-on lifts are one of the most intensive thing. And you can watch a U-thermal or a Hero Marine, and you could be like, oh, it's fine. I should do the more add-on swaps, the better I'm playing. But like, that's only if you're incredibly high level, right? To get efficiency out of it. For everyone else, it's a massive sink of actions. It's just a waste of time. You want to have as few add-on swaps, as few lifts as possible. We want to try and chunk together our buildings as much as possible. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the depots. So 38 is when you get supply blocked, right? So we need to kind of map into the build order when to build depots. And I mean, we're just going to kind of write like, okay, we need to go like 30 supply, start a single depot builder starts war. Do you know what a depot builder is?
It's one SCV that's designated to build the whole wall.
So basically, never queues back to minerals. So that habit I'm trying to get you to build, that's the one guy I don't want you to I don't want you to have the habit with. Yeah, he's the one guy that we break the habit of queuing back to minerals with, and he just keeps building it, and you just go back every little now and then. And you just add another depot until that wall's finished, and then you send him to go build depots somewhere else. And at a certain point, usually when you're producing nonstop off 3 barracks with add-ons and a starport with a reactor or something, he can't really keep up anymore. you need to add a body, and he suddenly gets married, has a friend, they get to hold hands and build depots for the rest of their life together, which probably a lot better than getting pulled into a Colossus shield battery defense like a lot of SCV's lives are.
Poor SCVs.
Yeah, man, they've got a hard life. They're like, whoa, we have 5 extra hit points, so I guess we're the best tank in the game. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah. In my early days, I would have been a part of that war atrocity.
Wouldn't we all? At least they can secure the victory sometimes. So 30 supply, roughly, is when we're going to start that depot. That's a pretty shitty marker, 30 supply. So it's your job.
Maybe.
We need to chain that up to something else. So if we were in the replay, we'd look at something. We'd be like, oh, as you start the tech labs, that's right around 30 supply normally. So you got to remember, start the 2 tech labs and start depots as well. So we need to chain that to something. So that's kind of your homework. I've put that in bold next to it. I'm like, chain this to something. You can find what works for you.
Yeah, it'll probably be like before I build the factory, just supply depot and then factory.
Yeah. If it works out there, obviously, as you refine the build, it's going to get tighter. Like right now, there's going to be pretty big variance in when things happen. So
Yeah,
we'll need to double check it a little bit as you get better at executing the build and more consistent. Okay, so cool. So we've talked about it. This is like your base opening. This is like one size fits all, right? So from here, I think we can already see the timing attack. So I've got a production tab, you don't. 50 seconds till +1 weapons kicks in. 50 seconds till combat shields. 69, 70 seconds till stim finishes. So basically just over a minute from now, about just 5 minutes 50, you're going to have all your upgrades lining up. And if we hit bio production nonstop till then, a lot of bio. So we could start building Marauders as well as Marines off these tech lab barracks. But we could have a nice little stim push just before the 6-minute mark, right? So we can say a 6-minute stim push with shields and +1. Okay, so that's our first attack.
And that's mostly just like a poking to the third to see if they have it.
Well, it's really going to depend, right? So when you're starting out, you can do that as like a really dumb attack. We like to encourage people to commit hard to their attacks early on because we don't want to waste APM. Kind of go, you keep looking back at it and wondering what to do. You want to be decisive. So when you're first practicing it, you'll just go straight for their natural every game, every matchup. You just walk across the map, stim into their natural, and try to kill as much shit as you can. As you get more reps, you can learn, there's like a Colossus and a shield battery and a bunch of zealots. Like, no, let's just back off. There's no third base. Cool, we'll just go home. We'll come back later. That's fine. We know he's not being super greedy. It's okay. Or we'll see a guy who has, 1 siege tank and 2 Marines. We'll go, stim, kill the tank, get in there, win the game. Like we'll learn to recognize the different situations. Don't worry about that for now. That's stuff that you naturally, if you've got your brain switched on at all, you will learn. As long as you're not getting. Some people are like, it works sometimes, it doesn't other times. And I'm like, you're just too lazy to rewind the replay and actually look at why. Like that's all that's happening is you're letting your emotional response to the victory or defeat screen choose your focus. If you're actually applying your brain and clicking a rewind, you can, like StarCraft, there's unlimited types of battles that can happen. It's your job as a player to hit the rewind button and go, this was a good one because of this one's a bad one because of this. And over time you could build your understanding of that, and there will never be a point where you don't run into terrible fights. It's always going to happen. There's always going to be a time where you miss an opportunity where you could have killed them because you misinterpreted something. So we're always working to correct that. That's never perfect, but that's just something, I can't tell you, it'll be this. This is the one marker, multiple matchups, multiple styles, multiple situations. You'll learn that naturally with time, as long as you're having fun. So the important thing is the transition. And this is where you change the build for each matchup. Maybe you do the same thing in each matchup, right? So a basic example, right, was we could be like, 2 base all in example, okay? So basically what we could do there is say tech lab factory, 4th and 5th racks, non-stop unit production, and just keep pushing, right? Keep pushing. Maybe add 2 libs after 4 medevacs, so you have like 3 tank, or 2 tank, 2 lib mass bio push or something like that. Can you tell him he can absolutely listen to the stream? This is so much theory. So can you just type in the chat to him? Because I'm not a ref, so I actually can't type to him, to you guys in this game. So you can just type to him and say, oh, unmute the stream, don't worry. Can you just type that in the in-game chat to him?
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. My bad. He's been sitting there trying to be the best practice partner. He's like so bored. Oh, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Maybe, yeah, but basically the idea there is that's like an all-in example, right? And for any matchup, okay, you just pushing on 2 base, trying to kill him, trying to kill him, trying to kill him. Maybe a big frontal push. Maybe you split your army into two armies, attack 2 places. Who knows? But what would some of the differences be off the top of your head? So what if you're doing a 3 base plus transition? What might look different? Are you looking at the document? You can see where I'm writing this, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
think,
might we write for that 3 base transition?
I guess if I was doing a 3 base, I wouldn't risk a lot more like heavier pushes early on, just like more to see if I can disrupt his mineral line, hit that, make sure I add on a couple more production structures that can take advantage of that mineral income. Like say if I was playing maybe Zerg, I might have a little who's focusing a lot on Roach and Ling. I'll add like 2 more barracks so I have a little bit more Marines so I can keep stimming along with maybe an additional starport if his army's big enough so that my Marines stay healed.
Awesome. So this is really good because what you're doing is you're thinking way too detailed and way too far ahead, and this is a good sign. This is a great example of you're thinking too deeply in a good way. It's bad for now in that it's not useful right now, but it's great because it means you're thinking about the right sort of ideas that are going to make you learn and play better StarCraft. So what's more important is just thinking about the fundamental base setup you have as an underlying structure. And this could be in any matchup, Terran, Zerg, Protoss. So outside of any technical unit adjustments to the specific situation, it's more just about the order of the setup. So with that previous scenario, what we're missing is we never get a second engineering bay for double upgrades. We never get a third command center. And we never go past 2 base production of 5 barracks, a factory, a starport. So with a 3 base transition, so you're always at this convergence point before this where we've got 3 barracks, a factory that's just swapped with a starport, building medevacs, marauders, marines, 3 barracks, 2 bases. So the first thing is if you're going longer game, we want to get a 3rd CC as quickly as possible after that, the highest priority. Because if we go 4th and 5th barracks, pumping out bio tank, then we build a 3rd command center, it is like, it's an afterthought. We need to do a shit ton of damage, right? If they took a 3rd straight away, it's like maybe if I chop off one of his legs, then maybe I can play a macro game still. But I've got to chop off one of his legs. You know, it's not like you could just go. It's like okay, we are committed to this, so we got to do it a bit different. So 3rd CC, 2nd eBay plus armory, so we can get those double upgrades going, and only then would we go the 4th and 5th racks to round out the 2 base production, and then we would go for our 3 base production. So what would our option be there? So then 3 base production choice. And that's a choice. So that would be either 3 more barracks with tech labs or extra factory, I don't know, 2 times factories or starport plus fusion core plus, for range libs. It's like one of these things to add that production, right? And you just have your choice, usually based on just what style you like to play. I love mostly bio. Just building a few Widow Mines or 1 tank at a time and medevacs is enough. I want to play pure bio. So we'll get the 3 more barracks and we've got endless bio. We could just drop all day, attack multiple areas, do an endless bio push, very mobile. Or you go the extra factories or starports. It's much more like tech oriented. It's like, okay, I'm setting up this sick siege tank, just giant tank line moving forwards. I've got like 10 liberators that I run in, siege in a really sick spot, that sort of stuff.
Or the minefield of death that you bait your enemies into.
Hi-oh. Yeah, there's some, you can play some real janky stuff. You get like 3 factory Widow Mine even with drilling claws, and you're just always scanning to kill their observers. And that's like such a silly style to play against Protoss, but like if they don't micro their observers good, they actually really struggle with it because they just can't kill the observers very easily. But yeah, there's lots of styles. So the important thing there though is you've got this nice opening that you can plug into an all-in on 2-base. You can plug it into a bigger macro build. You're always going to go for the 6-minute stim push with it, but you can, like I said, you can see stuff with it, see they've built enough units and just go home. Or you can see they're not ready and just win the game, even though it's not even an all-in or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's the mastery of a strategic line, is when you start getting very good at reading those situations of, when to commit, when to pull back, and well, this guy's all-inning me, let's like quickly get home and build an extra bunker and wall off and blah, blah, blah. But for now, it's building those base habits. It is all about that. And the thing is, we can turn this into a janky ass style, right? We can make this way more jank. We could give you a totally different build. It's even wilder. But I think right now for you, I even for players in Diamond say, look, you got a lot of fundamentals to work on. I don't want you playing 20-minute games, waste of time. I really want you to be playing lots of 8-minute games, 9-minute games, 10-minute games at most. So do the 2-base all-in example. Build 5 barracks, factory, starport, pump units nonstop. And if you do that correctly, you shouldn't be floating a lot of minerals. But you're going to take a while to get there. You're going to have games, you're floating 2,000 minerals, and you're like, I might as well just take 3 bases. And what I want you to do is I want you to fight that urge. So this is my advice. Let me know if you're on board with this. 2-base all in every game, do this. If you float 2,000 minerals, the only way you can spend it is just going, next game I'm going to get better at getting my production up on time, my add-ons on time. I'm not going to get supply blocked, and I'm just going to keep up production. Because if you do that, this is going to like hold you accountable. It's going to make sure you go, I was floating so many minerals. Okay, well, let's actually look at the replay. You know what, I never got my add-ons on time. This whole part of the build went off the rail. I could focus on this. And you can keep improving that. Likewise, if you do macro well, if you do build your army well, and if you learn how to attack at the right moment, both timing-wise as well as learning how to micro certain things correctly, you will win or lose games very quickly based off your early execution. So you've got immediate feedback saying, ooh, you did good, you win. Or ooh, you did bad, not so good, right? So it's it's very powerful.
It's a baseline to check yourself. It's like, okay, this is like my window to kill, and if I don't do it, then I need to look at something I did wrong or see if there's anything I can improve on.
Absolutely. So this is so powerful, and I think focus on the underlying mechanics more than anything else. If there is one thing, if you forget everything we've talked about today, like, because this is a lot of stuff, you're not going to focus on all this at once. So I want you to kind of like check back in on this document a week from now, 2 weeks from now. But for now, all I want you to focus on ahead of everything else is the big fundamentals. Okay, that list down there, rallying the first SCV to building the depot, rally it to go scout. Queue workers back from buildings to mining, or if they're going to build another building, because that's part of your build order, queue them to that next building, right? So we remember it like factory SCV always builds the starport right away after. So it queues right next to itself to build that starport, right? That way we're conscious of what everything's doing. And control group the structures immediately. Factory starts, control group it. Command center starts building, control group it. Just build that habit. Every time you put down a structure, grab it, add it to the key. There's times where that isn't the case. Say you quickly throw 5 barracks down and you've got all this other stuff to do. You might have to come back a little later to add those to the control group, right? But when you say build your command center at the start of the game, that's always something where your SCV is there right on top of it. As 400 minerals hits, place command center, click it, build it, click it, add it to control group. You can do that consistently every game. So when the games are a little more chaotic, we can be a bit more forgiving, but early game, we want that to be like 100%. Start the engineering bay, add it to the control group. Start the third barracks, add it to the control group. You build that habit, it's going to be really, really nice. So that's something that's going to take a lot of mental effort because it's trying to retrain what you do on a subconscious level. It's that stuff you automatically do. That's going to take, it sounds basic. It is not. Give that respect, man. If you get through that, and next time we meet up or chat, you've managed to build it in, I will be very impressed. Okay. So give it the respect it deserves. It's not easy, man.
I will. Thank you so much. I got to get going. So
me too, man. All right. No worries. Thanks so much, Peter. You guys should add friends. So awesome source. Have a good one, mate. Add him to friends if you can for practice games later on. And I'll catch you next time, dude.